Starting. This hangout is on air. I can't even read. I think we're live. Hey,
are we live? Oh my God!
Hey, everybody.
What's up?
What's up? It's been a while.
The other days before we were saying I didn't have time, but Cagesiders, today I got time, cuz. What's up, Sean?
Hey, man. Geno's excited.
That's a clip. Dio. I'm just Dio or whatever the fuck his name is. I don't
DEO. Really There's period. It's a fucking acronym. God damn it.
What does it stand for? What's the D?
Well, his name is Damon, so that's I'm gonna guess really? That's that part of it. Yeah.
Damon. Interesting. Horrible name. But anyway, he shared a clip on the Twitter machine that I thought was pretty funny. Just some dude. It's just being a gangster. Telling some other dude, I told you that day I didn't fuck with you because I didn't have time. You know what I'm saying? Today I got time, cuz. It's just awesome. Because the dude's like 3'5" and 110 pounds. Intimidating in any way. Anyway.
So it's not the size of the fight in the tiger, Geno. It's the size of the tiger in the fight. No, it's the other way around. But you know what I mean.
Yep, fuck that up. We're off. We're fucking off. What's up, Sean? How are you, man?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm not used to my already.
My forehead is really shiny. I don't like it.
What's wrong, man? Why are you?
My forehead's shiny.
That's the problem.
Yeah, it is very
I don't know.
bothering me. Bothering me.
Ginger's
I don't know.
You're not God.
My problem is. I don't have one. I don't know. I'm good.
You didn't want to come back. I'm the one actually who was like,
well, I am at a point in my life right now where I don't really want to talk about wrestling with other people.
We don't have to do that. We can talk about literally anything else.
Which is actually, it's fine for me as a wrestling fan. I can still enjoy the product, but it's bad for my business because I sort of signed up to.
That's the idea here.
Talk to other people about. Literally or figuratively talk to other people about wrestling all the goddamn time. So
let's explore that. Why do you not want to talk about?
Salute.
Why do you not want to talk about wrestling with other wrestling fans?
I actually don't want to talk about. I think I'm a little bit of a misanthrope right now. I don't really want to talk to anybody about anything.
Now you're using a lot of big words.
I like to do that.
I don't know what they mean. So I'm gonna take them as disrespect. Now tell what is a misanthrope for those who may not know?
DEO tweeted at us to say that his name is amazing, and that made me smile. So, cool. I'm not enjoying other people right now.
He fucking hates people is the thing, and so
I kind of. It's weird because I actually like the idea of other people, but then in practice, I just find them tiresome.
Dude, same. People fascinate me. They are very interesting to me. I kind of want all of them to die in a fire. And
I will fight for everyone's right to be themselves. But in the bargain, I want them to leave me alone. They don't need to die in a fire. Go do you. Just do it over there.
I will die for your right to be exactly who you are. I hate your fucking guts.
But yeah, I don't have to like you.
Stephanie McMahon hates Sami Zayn. Everything about your existence irritates the fuck out of me.
That's sort of where I'm at.
It's funny because Zayn he was on Twitter and he goes, "We're doing Biggie and I are doing a 24-hour positivity challenge or something like that."
Don't you dare be sour.
Seems dangerous. There's this. Well, and I tweeted.
How is that? All right, how is that dangerous?
It's not dangerous, but I tweeted at him and I said, I believe in duality, so I'm not going to practice this shit. There's this really weird idea that people have that you need to get to a point where the baseline emotion is happiness, where you're like, I'm generally happy for the most part. That's how I feel most of the time, and then something happens that makes me unhappy, whatever. No, that's not. People get mad at us, right? Because they're like, someone sent mail to my bosses, to the higher ups. You were tagged on it, I believe.
Mm-hmm. That was the part of my joke in the teaser too. Was do these guys even like wrestling?
Yeah, they said whoever's running the Cageside Twitter, I feel doesn't even like wrestling. It's a bad look for your brand. First of all, our business is booming. The brand is doing fucking wonderfully. And you're right, I don't like wrestling. So One
thing has nothing to do with the other.
But yes, none of those things are necessarily, they're not mutually exclusive. But that's what I'm saying. It's like people telling Stunning Stella Cheeks, who I absolutely adore, when I said the podcast was going to come back, she said, your disdain is hilarious to me. So like the fact that we are how we are is actually entertaining to some people. Some people are entertained by people complaining or people being literally any other emotion than happy. So be positive. Like, that's cool for you, but like, don't fucking try to find a whole day to just be positive. That doesn't have to be the baseline emotion. Happiness doesn't have to be the thing that you are all the time.
I don't think positivity and happiness are the same thing necessarily, but I get what you're saying, because that's
fair.
What I'm saying too is that's what I mean. Is I love pro wrestling. Actually, I just am not. I am tired of arguing about what I like with people or what I don't like with people. Because that's, to me, that's my goal. Like in life, is to reach some sort of serenity as opposed to some sort of happiness. I don't have to be happy all the time, but I would like to be. Whatever that is. Sometimes that's pissed. Sometimes that's sad. I don't want to fight that. That's my goal.
I think
that's kind of where I am with wrestling right now. Like, I don't love Raw, but there's a bunch of stuff on it that I like. There's a bunch of performers that I like. So I'm not interested in this. You got to like SmackDown. It's important that you like SmackDown more. I don't care. I like some things about both of them. I also like some indie stuff. I wish I had more time to watch some indie stuff. But what I like is cool. I like it, but I'm not interested in getting into a Twitter war with you over whether Will Ospreay is a dick or not. I don't care.
Right. Yeah. And another reason for bringing the show back was I, for myself, got to a place of understanding a couple of things. One, I'm at a point where, that show we deleted because we were saying shitty things and we were just like, oh, it's a bad look and all that. That Geno's gone. Not the Geno who said the shitty things, the Geno who wanted to hide them. I am very openly, please come at me. Like, because I've never had more ammunition that, you're so condescending, you act like you're better. That's because I am. Our site does so much more traffic than yours. And it's not, it's because you're with SB Nation. It's because you're this, because that. No, it's because we're successful, because we're really fucking good at what we do. Not a single source in sight. So to any of those people who'd like to step up and say something, I'll invite you on the fucking show. And you can voice all your complaints. You can run your fucking mouth on Twitter. You can say all this. You can say all that. Come talk to us. I would love to have a conversation with you and throw all of our success in your face, because you can't tell me shit about the tricks of this trade. I just quoted Eminem. Today I got time, cuz.
You are.
What else was I going to say? Oh, the other thing.
I don't know.
The other thing, it's this relentless pursuit of happiness really bugs the fuck out of me. I'd like to say that. Because this idea that people have, like, that's the same thing, or you hear people talk all the time, but I just want to be happy. Your pursuit of it in that vein is actively a detriment to the goal you say you have. You can't, like, part of finding happiness is basically what you're saying. I love your approach to it. We didn't even talk about this beforehand, where you're like, I'm going to say this and whatever. We never do that. Mm-mm. But you're exactly right. Is to just find a sort of balance within the world and my own sort of place within this, system, which is, yes, I want to feel happy. I enjoy feeling happy. However, I also want to feel sad sometimes, because I need to feel that sadness, because, like I said, I believe in duality, so that I can feel happiness. Let me give you an example. All of you little fuckholes out there who keep telling me that SmackDown is the greatest thing since sliced bread, no, it fucking isn't. SmackDown is oftentimes a thoroughly mediocre show. You know why you think it's the greatest fucking thing since sliced bread? Because Raw is such a piece of shit. One thing is really bad, therefore the other thing looks really good. I have been very sad, therefore I know and appreciate so much more what it's like to be very happy. Those things have to exist to balance each other out. You're never going to be really totally happy with both things at the same time. I think no matter what they do. That's a lesson to take from that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm fucking preaching.
Well, you're on fire.
I'm fucking lit, fam. All right.
like literally lit, or like?
Before one of the Cubs games,
that could mean all kinds of things.
They were at Wrigley before one of the Cubs games. They took it to a reporter, and she's outside, and it's all fucking, it's bonkers and shit. It's World Series, it's Cubs, Wrigley, Chicago, all that. She goes, "It is adequately lit outside Wrigley." I was like, does she mean the lighting is really good?
That's what I would think.
Or people are very excited. Like, you can't say shit. You're on a fucking nationally televised broadcast. Like, what? You're reporting that it's adequately lit. Like,
I mean, you'd have to be trying to be funny to say that. I think.
Yeah, we're properly fired up for this program today. Anyway,
They're not overly lit. They are just the right amount of lit.
We are not too turnt. Cubs fans not too turnt. And she did it in the reporter voice. Cubs fans are not too turnt. Instead, they're adequately lit.
That's what this is. I'll jump around for you. So at WWE, I don't know. Does she do Raw or SmackDown? Charlie Caruso.
Is she the one who called Ellsworth Ellis?
No, I think that was Dasha Fuentes.
That chick is horrible at her job.
She did not. She's fine on NXT. She did not have a good week on SmackDown.
No,
and then the little fire plug, Andrea DeMarco, she just hates everybody. We should get her on this show. She's always like, "Why do you suck?" But no, there's this other one, Charlie. I guess maybe she only does NXT, but she hasn't figured out like what her wrestling persona is yet. So she still does the anchor woman voice. I just find her hilarious. She's not good at her job, but she does that just like you said, and up next, Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn.
It's not good.
Sal Palantonio, I stole mine from Sal Palantonio because he was the worst at it. The Philadelphia Eagles play football. Why the fuck are you talking like that? Like,
because you know Sal is from Philly himself, so you know he doesn't talk like that off the air.
No, he does not. We're going to talk about Raw, kind of, I guess. Sean hates talking about Raw.
I don't hate talking about Raw. I don't want to. Here's what I don't want to do. Fucking Bailey.
What?
But that seems.
Why would we do that?
I don't know. It seems to be the thing to do today. So.
Are people arguing about Bailey? What are they saying? Tell me what they're saying. Let's go at them.
Well, I saw there was a lot of, including some friends of the show on Twitter, Fagan and DEO last night were just like, Bailey's a trash promo, which I don't want to have that argument.
Okay. I don't disagree necessarily, but
the cheering. I don't think she's a great promo, but I don't. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's. I feel like it's become a thing to say all of a sudden. Like, and also with Sasha.
I don't think there's a good. I actually thought Fagan made a good point. He said there's Charlotte's in the ring with Dana Brooke and Bailey or something like that, and Bailey's the worst promo of all of them. And Sasha was in there too, maybe in there. My thing was watching that segment. I was like, none of these people. First, none of them are that good on the microphone. Let's just say that. I mean, but they don't need to be necessarily. I mean, they have their good moments and they have their bad. Like, Sasha always talks like she's got fucking peanut butter stuck to the roof of her mouth, and Bailey's got that, like, I feel like that's character based too, though. Like, I think it works for.
Well, you've never been a fan of Sasha's promos going back to NXT. Like
she's it's just weird. She talks funny.
I'm not mad.
I can't really understand what she's saying sometimes, and when she gets excited, it's like she forgets to say the full words. And it's just not, I don't know. There's no real command of the room. I don't know. I mean, then I was raised in the Attitude Era where all we had was good talkers, right? All we had was people who were really fucking good with the idea that you go into you start a show with a 20-minute in-ring talking segment and people fucking blast that these days. The reason you could do that back then was you did that with like Steve Austin, which that's perfect. You give him a mic and put him in the ring, and all he does is come out and say, if you're ready for WrestleMania, give me a hell yeah. And the whole fucking building explodes. And he just immediately commands the presence of everyone in there. Like, it seems so simple and silly. He didn't say anything. How's he a good promo? It's because he took all their enthusiasm and channeled it and got it out of them, and then immediately after they shut the fuck up so he could speak. That's good shit. And he didn't have to do very much to do that. And then, you damn right, and then goes into all his stuff. So, and in this segment, it was really apparent, I guess we're starting there. No one knew what to do. Yeah. Charlotte's a fucking heel.
I don't know that anybody is like talking about anything else that happened on the show, honestly. So
that's true.
That's why I thought I would kick it to that.
Kind of a lame. I do want to talk about Stephanie and how I'm fucking utterly tired of everyone saying she castrates everyone. Which is that's sexist as fuck. Not that I care that it's sexist, but I think that's exactly what it is. But no one knew what to do. Like, the crowd is like, and then people are like, I don't think you can blame them. It's the crowd's fault. Well, yeah, it's the crowd, and you're gonna have fucking crowds who pull that kind of shit. And I don't care if you want to do whatever you want to do. I don't give a fuck. But The performer has to be able to account for that. Part of the problem is they've never been in that situation or haven't been in that situation enough to know what to do because they haven't been exposed to it because they never have the time. They've never been given the time. When you're used to a 2-minute match, maybe a very short talking segment and crickets the whole time because no one really gives a shit. Now suddenly they do really care. Someone's super over. Crowd wants to shed light on that, whatever. Charlotte's a heel. And literally, I think they cut it out because I put up the spoiler thing, and there were some videos, and I don't remember seeing everything that I think was in there. Did they edit that? I'm pretty sure they did.
They cut it. They cut it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was It was long. It looks like it was longer live, and it looks like there were a few failed attempts by Charlotte to deflect things that they didn't include.
She fucking politely asked people to stop. She was like, "Can you guys please stop talking now? I've got some promo to do." Like.
I think that the worst thing she did, and I think they cut this out, was that she asked them if they're done. Which that's like, if you've ever like tried to deal with like a bunch of like preschool students or something, that's the exact last thing you want to do. Because the answer is no, we're not done.
It just encourages them to do more. Like it's a challenge. That's what that actually is.
And this isn't the first time because I can't remember what the exact circumstances were, but I remember we talked about it on Cageside Live, and I remember Steve Austin had chimed in about what she did was wrong, but Charlotte has failed to handle this before.
Yeah.
So it's not like somebody needs to pull her aside, maybe her fucking legendary father, I don't know, and say
he never had to deal with that. He was over.
That's true. Yeah.
He was actually
true. No, but
I wouldn't know, honey. I actually did my job well.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's entirely. I do think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the creative sends them out there to die a little bit with these things. Like this was not a. This is another segment where the big swerve was supposed to be Charlotte was going to introduce Dana Brooke, and then Michael Cole of all people was going to get the babyface pop of going, "Nuh-uh, it's Sasha." It's a stupid fucking segment. Who said? I don't blame Glasgow for shitting all over it.
Glasgow.
Whatever you saying, Glasgow. I'm not Scottish.
I don't know what it is. I don't know.
I do like. I thought one of Charlotte's attempts to shut it down I liked was when she said, "I can't understand what you're saying with those stupid fucking accents." I thought that was pretty good.
That was pretty good. Like no one can understand you anyway. Shut up. Like you don't matter. Well, and not everyone can be Stephanie McMahon. Not everyone can be John Cena. These the performers who are really really good at shutting a crowd down like this. You have a couple options. Either keep going and pretend as though they're not doing this. And they're not there, which I imagine would be very difficult. I've never been in front of a crowd like that.
I mean, as loud as they were, it would be very. Yeah, I don't know that you could. I think they did just try to talk over them, and it didn't work.
The person who did the best was Sasha, who, again, I don't have great thoughts about as far as her promo ability, but you play into it enough to where they feel like part of it is just acknowledgement, right? They're doing it in the sense because they want to be acknowledged, not in the way that Bayley did. Bayley fucked up because she just kept stopping and starting and stopping and starting and like, oh wow, like she was blown away by it. That's fine, but like, you keep going back to that, like, oh wow, I can't believe you're still doing this. Like you start there, you take it in, you give them a little bit of time, let it breathe.
As the babyface, I don't know what else. I mean, first of all, I agree with Bexley, who wrote the fan post, that's in character for her to go, oh gosh, this is so flattering. And two, as a babyface, what else can you do?
I mean, you just, like I said, you just keep going.
But I think they were so loud that you couldn't. I mean,
Maybe she's
for
the one.
If the microphones can't pick up what you're saying over the crowd chants, I don't know. I mean, I assume at least Cole had Vince in his ear telling him what to do.
You'd think, but well, how would he tell them that? But
when the camera's on Charlotte, whisper to Bayley or something. I think that's probably his job out there is to kind of direct traffic. Although they didn't know this was going to happen. Although they probably should have, if they would have watched any of Takeover London or whatever, where they did this before.
Yeah, where it's like, this is our shot. They never come here. We're on TV. Let's get ourselves over.
And we like Bayley, so
we love Bayley. Let's take her along for the ride. Well, maybe Bayley's the one who should have politely asked them to stop. Charlotte, as the heel, is the one who should have been like, the next person I see singing, I'm going to drag in here and shit in your throat. Like, like you got do something. And then Sasha handled it best by just go along with it. You acknowledge it. You be a part of it. You kind of make it a part of the thing. And then, okay, now can we move the fuck on? And at some point, it is annoying that the fans just keep going. Like, no one gives a shit.
And I don't think there was nothing that they had to offer that the fans were that excited about either. That's the thing. I think that makes it easier too.
Sure.
If
it's
there's
stupid as hell, yeah.
I mean,
and Alicia Fox like said some words, and I don't think anyone understood.
What the fuck is it? Where's Alicia Fox? Last time we saw Alicia Fox, she was getting a fucking Kleenex box implanted in her head or whatever by Nia, and now they're just standing next to each other like, huh?
Loved Nia. Loved Nia. It's Bailey hugs Cole, and Nia's fucking huge eye roll was just the greatest.
Nia probably had the best reaction to anybody to the whole segment, because even when they kept chanting again, like when Charlotte would pause, Nia would like take a deep breath, some obvious like I'm so through with this shit gesture.
Nia Jax is Cageside Live, where we're just like, oh fuck off with all your happiness and your I'm happy and great and everything's going good in life, and let me hug Michael Cole. Go fuck yourself. Like that's Nia Jax, and it's fucking awesome. So, not to go back to the happy thing, but because of Bailey, when the fucking two bubbly fucking things came out, if you enjoy these things, you're a child. First of all. Secondly, Byron Saxton's boyish enthusiasm for those things, I hate his guts. Like, his happiness makes me feel miserable. Like, it's very Corey Graves at this point, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to say that. That's a good example of, I don't need to, everyone's like, be positive and just like have fun and be happy and like just be cool and don't start shit. Starting shit is fun sometimes. Like it's not this idea that you can't ever be anything other than happy or positive, or you're too negative. So fucking what? Like it's a bad thing. Sometimes
Aren't you
it's
the guy
not.
that wrote the thing about can't we just enjoy something for a while before we start complaining?
About Mickey James, because Mickey James is awesome. Fuck you,
just
idiots.
Just checking. Just checking in there for a second.
Let me see a couple people shit on Strowman, and I'll be writing another article like that. Why do you guys complain about everything all the time? No, I think my angle there, that was a failure.
I think there's a difference. I do think there's a different argument. I was just fucking with you because that's.
No, yeah, you're right. But I think I read that and I was like, wow, I didn't make my point here at all. Like I had a really good point, and I think what was I was trying to say, like if something is objectively good, I don't care. This was forever ago. I don't remember. I don't even remember what it is. But yeah, Mickey's back, and that's awesome. And if you don't like it, you can go fuck yourself. That's where I'm at.
There you go.
Pieces of shit. What else? Stephanie. Here's another thing. So, unfortunately, we write about wrestling and therefore are associated with this thing called wrestling Twitter. And if you identify as wrestling
I couldn't
Twitter,
even go on Twitter last. I went on for like 5 minutes and I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. Sorry. I know I'm supposed to for my job, but I can't tonight.
Yeah. If you identify as wrestling Twitter, you can go ahead and block the Cageside account because I don't want anything to do with you. You're a fucking idiot. It's this like group of people who badly want to be seen in a certain light, and it's kind of fucking laughable to me. This idea that, you're smart, but either you're so smart that you can't enjoy it, or you're actually not smart at all because you're still getting worked by these things. If you're fucking mad at Stephanie McMahon for quote-unquote castrating Sami Zayn, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. She castrated a top babyface. Who the fuck are you? Why are you talking like this about wrestling? Like, why are you even, you're watching the program like you're a fucking member of, like you're an executive at WWE and you're upset that someone higher up than you is doing something that isn't the best for the business that you depend on to pay your way through life. You're not watching as a fan. You know why it's awesome that Stephanie McMahon, if she's castrating these people, which isn't even what fucking happened, by the way. You know what's awesome about it? She's awesome. I'm a fan of hers. So when she does cool shit, I think, hey, that was cool and I have a good time. I don't look at it like, well, if I was the booker, if I was running the company, if they gave me the pencil, she'd never do this because the babyface can't get their, she never gets her comeuppance, and that's the real problem. And I actually have fallen into this trap myself at various times. Total hypocrite. You can listen to a show, 2 shows ago, and I'll be saying the exact opposite of this. But I'm just, on this particular day, it's like, if you're so fucking smart, how have you not gotten to a point where you're going, you know what, I'm just going to go with it? That's what makes you smart. I know I'm being worked. I'm going along with it anyway, because that's the thing you have to do to enjoy this fucking stuff. That's the thing that wrestling Twitter, all these fucking smart people who are so smart that none of them are worth anything. None of them make any money. None of them have done anything with all their fucking smarts. Unlike us, who are apparently dumbasses, but are the ones making all the money. You know, they're the ones bitching and complaining. She's castrating a top babyface. One, no. She talks shit about Zayn. You irritate the fuck out of me. I don't like you. She's the bad guy. He's the good guy. You're supposed to look at her and go, well, you're full of shit. Fuck you. And he's awesome. And that makes you support him even more because someone you don't like doesn't support him. There's a method to that madness. Secondly, he fucking proved her wrong. She gave him an opportunity anyway, and he went out and won the match. He's got a title shot at the pay-per-view. How did she castrate him? In any fucking way at all? At any point? Just because she said, everything about you irritates me? That is you, my friend. God, I hate saying this shit, but it's what happened. You got worked so fucking hard, you don't even realize that it's a work anymore. These people think it's a shoot, Sean. Wrestling Twitter thinks wrestling is a shoot. I'm convinced of this. They no longer have the ability to understand that it's a work, that it's fake. It's not fucking real, people. These people don't actually think these things. These people aren't actually... She's not actually irritated by Sami Zayn, everybody. Let me fucking break that to you. Jesus fucking Christ. By the way, Sami Zayn is irritating as fuck. That little skip to the ring he does, knock it the fuck off.
You watch it. You watch, I will slap the taste out of your mouth.
And then let us go ahead and act like wrestling.
Oh, I mean, if you don't love, I mean, that's where I am. Like, I like who I like, and I actually don't even care how much they win. I'm not going to fucking wring my hands because Rusev is getting...
It doesn't matter.
Rusev isn't losing. Rusev is on fucking TV living his goddamn dreams. He's all right.
Yeah.
You don't need to take up the flag, the giant, how about that flag, though, and run into the ring and stick up for Rusev. He's okay.
Yeah. If he's on TV being his entertaining self, what's the problem? Well, he's not winning. What the fuck is...
I just had a little Big Show flashback.
Yeah, what's the problem? Kane! What's the problem? No, legitimately, what is the fucking problem? You're a mark.
I mean, this is, I mean, we were, I talked to a guy named Jason Martin about this a little bit too. I feel the same way about people who are totally, like last week's crisis du jour was, they're pushing, they're shoving Charlotte down our throats. It's just like Roman Reigns all over again. Well, but she's a heel, so if they've given you an added layer of hating her, they've done their fucking jobs. Maybe they're finally doing the reality era right by telling you we're over pushing. They're working you as a smart mark by pushing the streak and letting you know we're not going to let her lose. You can get as mad as you fucking want. And then eventually when somebody beats her, you little nerds are going to fucking have an orgasm because...
Yeah, it was a bad decision.
It works on all the different levels. It pushes all your buttons.
Charlotte beat Sasha at Hell in a Cell. That's a bad business decision. I'm mad about it. I think it's a good business decision, you fucking dummy. You know, no comedy. Yeah. So I'm tired of hearing that. Oh, Stephanie's really bad because she never gets her comeuppance. A couple things. Hey, why does she need comeuppance? If we understand what they're doing too, like, and again, to a degree, I can see what you're saying in the sense of, again, that's you being a mark. If you're so invested in someone getting to a certain level, which is, I don't know what the WWE title, because that means, I don't even know what the fuck it means. Like, it doesn't mean anything. None of this means anything. That's another thing that I was like, even last night, I'm like, I'm going to try to watch this and watch it in such a way that I'm just going along with every part of the show, and then I'll review it. I don't know how to review a show that way. I realized that very quickly. I couldn't do it because I've been so ingrained into the thinking of wrestling Twitter and insider bullshit, and because I know what a babyface is and a heel and all this stuff. It's bad. It fucks with the enjoyment of it.
That's like, that's you basically just said what I was trying to say at the open. Like, I can just sit there. If I don't get on Twitter, which is weird because sometimes I love Twitter. Sometimes Twitter cracks me up more than the show.
It'll probably be pretty cool tonight.
So it's weird. I don't know, but lately for me, turning all that off and just watching the show the way I used to watch it 10 fucking years ago is a much more enjoyable experience. I don't love everything. Some of it annoys the shit out of me, but I don't get I don't get angry about a booking decision if I'm just sitting there watching Raw, and one of the reasons why I've always liked wrestling is because I don't have to fucking except when I have to do it for this job, I don't have to hang on every word that's being said. I sort of know what's going on. I can my ears can perk up when something good happens. Other than that, I can be sitting here surfing the net, reading a goddamn comic book, talking to my wife, whatever, playing with my cats. I don't have to be on the edge of my seat watching every thing that happens. But this way of watching it where we have to judge every booking decision, then you want to hang on every word, because the way that Stephanie said something might mean somebody's getting castrated.
I was so upset to see, like, y'all gotta quit this bullshit.
I mean, if you're watching WWE, are you listening to? If you're watching WWE at this point, you need to know the McMahons are the star of the show. If that's a deal breaker for you,
they do the best ratings too.
Go get a fucking Flow Slam subscription and support independent wrestling, because the McMahons won't be the most important part of that show. Yeah. But if you're watching WWE, they're gonna be.
Yeah, go be the asshole who claims you love cruiserweights and goes to the show and chants for Randy Savage while their match is on. You know what I mean? Those are a lot of those fucks too. Like, people claim they love this shit. They don't. Wrestling fans don't like wrestling. Vince Russo has been correct on a number of his takes. That's the biggest one. Pro wrestling fans aren't really big fans of the wrestling itself. They're fucking not. We see proof of this all the time because no one gives a shit about the matches in the ring. They don't care. As soon as the women started actually wrestling a match, death. Cruiserweights had a match. I don't think a single match actually got over. Well, it's a problem of the show. It's 3 hours long. It's this, that. No, it's you. You're the fucking problem because you don't really like it. That's okay. That's totally okay. It's cool to admit that. Like, it's fine to just go with that and have that be the thing. You can say that. You're not suddenly like it's invalid. Your opinions don't matter less all of a sudden because of that. It's just what it is. And it's a prop. The belts are props.
Mm-hmm. There are ways that WWE can help all of these people. They do communicate whether somebody is important or not. But that's not the end all be all. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if it's so important to you that you don't want, I think somebody wrote a fan post about this week. You also don't want everybody you say you want to win. You don't really want them to win. You're invested in their journey as the loser.
Yes. Also,
that is a story that WWE is telling you.
Yeah. Also, here's another thing I would say, and it's we're going to tell you how to watch the show, or I'm going to tell you how to enjoy things you enjoy. I'm not going to do that. Here's what I'll say. I really think you're doing yourself a disservice by the business is inherently insulting because it
exists to fool us.
It exists to fucking to take
work us.
Yes, your to take your emotions and toy with them over something that ultimately doesn't matter and never really mattered because they didn't really earn it. They didn't really work for it. They did in their own way, but there are reasons why the people who succeed, and it isn't necessarily because they are the best at what they do. That's frustrating if you let it be frustrating. So I'm saying is, in a sense, you are watching it wrong. Your passion, your enthusiasm is essentially buying into the work itself. It's it's giving them all the power that you don't actually want them to have because you want what you want out of it, and you will never get that by being enthusiastic. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
By being as passionate about this as you are only furthering their agenda. It reaffirms their position. If they do something like Charlotte over Sasha at Hell in a Cell and it pisses you off, that's what they wanted. That's exactly the thing they were aiming for.
Well, it's exactly why you're watching too, though. That's the thing is the worst thing, it's like, I mean, we've had this discussion too. If you really want to express your disapproval to Vince McMahon or to a wrestling promoter or a sports team or anything, sit on your fucking hands. That's the worst thing. If you're watching and you're getting worked up about it in one way or another, then that's why you're watching, right? You don't want to watch and not care. You want to watch and be excited or pissed off.
Yeah.
And they're getting you one of those things.
The Cubs. So I heavily got into baseball this postseason. Kane
and I, annoyingly so.
Sean was so mad at me because I ended up, well, here's the thing. My first thing was I wasn't necessarily for or against anybody. And then I realized I was super against the Giants because of that believe in shit. You know, even years, I badly wanted them to lose. And then they beat the Mets, Decker's team, which he's a piece of shit, so that was cool. But, no, I'm kidding, Decker, I love you. But then I was like, I really want them to lose. And then the first team they played was the Cubs. But then and watching all the games and talking to Kane and Knight and the Cageside offices, and it's whatever. I'm getting more into it, and I got a buddy who's into it. It's great. It's all these things. I quickly realized that when the Cubs did bad, I was getting really pissed off about it. I didn't like it. I'd watch them, and they'd get, you know, they'd give up runs, and I'm like, you fucking loser-ass loser. You lose all the 108 years of losing. This is who you are, you fucks. Like, wow, I actually care. Like, I really care about this. I want them to win. Gets all the way to the World Series, and they're down 3-1, and I was like so upset about it. Like, well, and beforehand I'm going, well, if Cleveland wins, it's cool because they end their own drought, and that's a good thing. It's a cool story. But I couldn't help but be drawn to the Cubs. Now, that's the point of sports. That's the point of sports entertainment. The point of sports, you never ever get to a point, though, where you're going, you know, because it's legitimate, you never have to go, well, they shouldn't have done this. You never have that to contend with. In wrestling, you do get to that point, and you mistake the two things as if one has anything to do with the other. I.e., if the Cubs would have lost 4-1, I would have been like, that really fucking sucks. I wanted them to win. Now they're going to go 109 years without winning the World Series. That really sucks. Everyone wanted this. It didn't happen. It's really sad. Whatever. That sucks. And you feel bad about that. But you come back the next time. They show up spring training next year. You go, all right, let's go, Cubs. Let's fucking do this thing. I want you to win. You don't question a booking practice. You don't question how it is that they got there. Maybe you look into things and you analyze it because that's fun. Well, in wrestling, it's Charlotte won. They shouldn't have had her do that. Predetermined. We know it's scripted. We know that there's a fucking guy, an old man, who decides what to do for whatever reason he decides to do it. And you allow yourself to go, I'm really mad that this happened. I really wanted Sasha to win in Boston. Hell in a Cell, history, retains her title. We all get to cheer and have a great time. That would have been fun. I really wanted that. And I'm mad that they did it the other way. And so the first thing these fuckers go to is WWE was wrong for doing that. No, they fucking were not. Maybe they have business metrics that show this guy maybe should have been pushed in this way because it would have made them more money. That's not your concern as the fan. That shouldn't matter to you in any fucking way at all. It shouldn't. Further, to use the Cubs as the example, the reason it felt so fucking good that they finally did win in the way that they won in one of the greatest baseball games ever fucking played is because they lost for 108 years in a row. Their identity was that they lose. Sami Zayn's identity is that he loses. He can never fucking win. He cannot be allowed to win because his victory is the natural, is the end of his story, essentially. There's nothing to do at that point after that. That is his existence.
But we already saw that. When he beat Kevin Owens, they had no idea what to do with him afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. At the Cubs, there were people, they did a study or they did polls or whatever the fuck it was. They said, like two-fifths or some shit like that, one or two out of every 5 fans wanted them to lose because their entire identity was in, we have to be the lovable losers. We have to be the ones who never win. There's always next year, and that will bond us together as fans, that's who we are. It'd be great when they win, but in a way, they're like, do we really want to? Because that's the end of that story. That story's closed up now, gone forever. Now what are they? Now it's okay, well, maybe they're going to be a dynasty, and you move on to something new and different, a new angle, a new narrative, all that stuff. Well, that's Sami Zayn. That's Bayley. Bayley can never be allowed to win the big one because she's the lovable loser. That's who she has to be, so she has to lose. If she loses 88 fucking times in a row, like that article said that I really liked, I think I'm the one who promoted that your favorite losing might not be a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. A lot of times it's not. It never really is, but if you're going along with the story, if you're analyzing that and going, why are they doing this? Okay, they're doing it for this reason. That makes sense to me. Okay, cool. And then you let yourself get lost in it to go, when she finally does win, it's going to feel really fucking good. Because guess what, assholes? That's exactly what fucking happened. She lost 1 billion times in NXT, picked up some key wins here or there, just like the Cubs. They fucking, every now and again, they'd get to the playoffs and they'd get fucking swept. God, I thought we were good this year. Or they go to 2003 and they lose in heartbreaking fashion to the Marlins and poor Steve Bartman, who I hope's out there having a good time in life right now. all these near misses. And then finally it happens, and it's just the most joyous fucking thing. And the reason it's joyous is because of all the fucking heartbreak that came before it, which ties back into what I said earlier. You cannot always be pursuing happiness. Happiness cannot be the baseline, because then you won't actually be happy, because you will not understand what happiness is anymore. You need that misery to feel the good that you can feel later. That's what they have to manipulate. You have to fucking stop telling me that you know the right move when you clearly fucking don't if you want Bayley to win all the time. She cannot be that without losing. Sami Zayn cannot be that without Stephanie McMahon, the dickhead heel, telling him, I hate everything you stand for. You're not supposed to hate what he stands for. You're supposed to like it. So they have the asshole tell him that it's shitty to reaffirm your support for him. That's the smart play that they made. If you want to analyze that and see that and go, wow, that's pretty slick, I think it's cool that they did that, fine. But if you want to sit there and tell them they're wrong for it because he's not actually irritating, you're a fucking mark. You're getting worked. You don't understand. You don't get it. And you never got it, and you probably never will get it. You're not the smart fuck you claim to be, so quit spreading your bullshit to other people. Sit down, watch the show, and shut the fuck up. That felt good. Good. That felt pretty good, Sean.
All right.
Are people in the thread calling this Geno time?
I don't know. I was looking at something else.
I don't know. Who cares what you're? I didn't even listen to any of it.
I heard some of it. I agree with most of it.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think
Tell me
I think one place where it gets a little weird is because with sports, people do love to like second guess general managers' decisions, and they do want to see an entertaining product on the field, even if you're not winning sometimes. So I think some of that, like you can do a little bit of the booking decisions conversation with that. I think you just got to take it with a grain of salt, a bit more than you really do in real sports, actually, even because the decision on who to sign and who to extend and those kind of things has a bigger impact on the wins and losses in the end. In WWE, we've got tens of years worth of like stock information and ratings information now that show it doesn't make a huge difference who they push and who they don't. Most of us are watching anyway. The WWE seems to have settled into understanding that a lot of their product is just for a niche audience. They're not freaking. I don't think they're freaking out about not getting 4 million viewers for Raw anymore. I think that's what the move to 205 Live indicates. Is they're like, you know what? If 300,000 people want to watch this, that's fine. We will take their fucking money. We're not going to worry about the fact that 2 million people don't want to watch it. I think that's what. So I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. I think there are a few places where it gets a little slippery, but that's okay. I mean, that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, the con is very interesting to me too. Part of that part of pro wrestling, and I think a lot of those people get into that too for the same reason, that the con is what's interesting. But you cannot mistake the con for your
right. I think that's where most people end up getting quote unquote worked, is because you think you're smart, and I do this too. You think you're smart, and you're like, okay, so I'm going to try to figure out what's real and not. That's what's fun about it to me. But in so doing, then you start to really care about what you think is real, but you don't even know it. So you forget to acknowledge, I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
And you get all worked up in it like, oh, well, fuck Vince McMahon for this. I know he's screwing this up. You don't know. You think you know, and that's fun, but, take a deep breath because you don't know.
Yeah. And that's the way it should be approached, I think. Is that you don't know. And furthermore, it's ridiculous, by the way. That's the other thing. Nothing in the world is dumber than professional wrestling. The Cubs' 108-year drought is meaningful, again, because they were really trying really hard. Millions of dollars were spent on, bringing in the right people. And then a lot of things had to go their way. They worked really hard. They're traveling all around the country. They're fighting their asses off. They're changing their lives around to achieve a common goal together. But that's real. A fucking old man didn't get together with a couple other people in a meeting room in Stamford and say, we're doing this. That's not valid. It's never been valid. It's never going to be. Anything anyone in pro wrestling ever does will not ever come close to matching a legitimate accomplishment, because it's not fucking legitimate. And it never will be. And I hate this idea that that's this horrible, awful thing. It's like watching a fucking movie and seeing seeing someone on the screen, they're trying to accomplish something, and like being legitimately upset when they don't accomplish the thing that they are trying to accomplish, as though it's a real fucking thing. Dude, it's a movie. Like, and allowing that to affect your actual life and the way you look at it, like, oh, it's a bad movie because the dude didn't accomplish the thing that I really wanted him to see him accomplish. Like, again, but you always go along for the ride. Obviously, in the movie, the part of your enjoyment of it is they do grab you and they go, I really want these, in a romance, I really want those two to end up together. And when they don't, you're like, oh, that's sad. Or maybe you cry and it's, but then you go, that was a good movie because of that. You understand that. There's some like weird misunderstanding in the wrestling world where it's like, you end up looking at like who wrote the script, who was the director.
Well, I mean, I think in terms of like booking decisions, I agree with you. But there is, and this is, like I said, this is where wrestling is weird and wonderful in this way, because there is a way, especially the way we consume it now, that a lot of people have like, I mean, I'll just use myself as an example. I have followed Kevin Steen and Remy Sabai, or whatever his real name is. I have followed them for about 12 years now, through different characters, and I have rooted for them to succeed in their chosen profession. The same way you want to see the Cubs succeed as a bunch of young, scrappy kids, I want to see those guys reach the mountaintop. Now, that doesn't mean, where it gets tricky is reaching the mountaintop doesn't necessarily mean they become Stone Cold Steve Austin or they break CM Punk's world title reign. They have succeeded. They've done it, and I enjoyed that journey with them. But now I can't get it twisted and get so totally tied up in the fact, well, maybe Sammy's not happy because he's not blah, 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 blah. No, Sammy has done, reaching the WWE and being on Raw every week is the fucking mountaintop. That is, they have won the World Series, the Wrestling World Series. They made it. So now don't get all worked up about whether or not they, the minutia of how they're being presented once they get there, because that's something you have no control about. And again, you don't know about. And it's also tricky because WWE actually is aware that we're these type of fans now, because that's how they've marketed the women to us, right? It's not whether or not who wins. They've made it, and you were part of it. It was a revolution, and you loved it, and we all loved it. So buy more.
Yeah.
They sell it to us that way.
Yeah, they work you again.
I understand people getting, it's hard. That's, like I said, that's the beauty of wrestling to me, is you don't know. You don't know what's business and what's not, and this and that.
That is a fun thing.
That's the fun of it. Don't make it ruin it don't make that be the thing that ruins it for you. Which I think is what a lot of people are doing.
The women's revolution is a work. Doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. Not real. It is not real. That doesn't mean that's not inherently negative. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
And it doesn't mean that Sasha and Bayley and Charlotte and Becky Lynch haven't accomplished something. They have, but what they've accomplished isn't wearing a prop over their shoulder or anything else.
That's right. Yes. And it's, even, you go back, if you listen to the Punk interview we did with Cabana, the big long, thing when he went over WWE stuff, he said, success in wrestling's weird. What makes you successful? It's really hard to define that.
Yep.
Is it being champ? Again, David Arquette was champ. It's just, we'll do this for this reason. There are too many variables to account for. I just got done reading Moneyball about baseball. A whole thing about this guy going, well, how do we build a team of guys without spending too much money who are actually successful and revolutionize the way they look at the fucking sport of baseball, and a bunch of other people telling them they're stupid. And what's right and what's wrong there? It's really hard to determine these things, especially in wrestling, because are you good and successful because you drew money? Are you good and successful because you're really good at the art of what wrestling is, as decided on by who? Who even decides that? Who decides what a good wrestling match is? It's a very subjective thing, right? We have these trainers who are like, this is what a good back bump is. So a guy like Austin can watch a match he did and go, oh, this is a horrible match because this, and this, I blew a spot here, or this was supposed to happen here. I was going to get the crowd into it here, and I didn't because I did this, and this was bad. So it was all right, but in the end, I didn't think it was very good. That's interesting, but he has his way of looking at it that makes it good or bad for him. I can see the same match and think, that's the greatest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. And so wrestling's such a weird thing to watch because of those things. And I think the only way to stay sane within it is to have a podcast where we can bitch which is another reason to bring this back.
And everybody does have a podcast now, so
that's true. Everyone in the world has a podcast, and 98% of them are shitty. And yes, we are part of that 98%.
Yep.
I'm not going to act like our podcast is the greatest thing because it's not. Although, you know what I will say? Tons of awesome messages of support. That's cool. We appreciate y'all. So we're back, and hope you're enjoying whatever. And then I forgot what I was saying now. Totally forgot what I was fucking saying. But no, it's subjective. It's wrestling's, yeah, that's it.
Right. Well, yeah. What makes a good wrestling match? Yeah.
What makes a good wrestling match? What makes you successful? What makes it? I don't even know. No one knows. CM Punk, one of the best. Did.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, CM Punk.
That's what I was going to say.
Same thing. Yeah.
CM Punk is a guy who fucking got worked at some point, right? Because one of his big things that he will admit to you is that he was pissed he didn't get to main event WrestleMania.
It was Mark.
Which is an arbitrary kind of distinction. He was still getting money. I mean, maybe he would have made a little bit more money if he had main evented one WrestleMania, but maybe not. There's no guarantee of that.
He did main event a Mania, and he wouldn't fall for that work, but he was worked in the sense of, dude, what does it matter? If he puts you on, this guy's the guy who decides it, and that's the thing. Like, this idea, is that valid or is it not valid? In a sense, everything has the value we assign to it. So the money, the cash that I have in my wallet right now has only as much value as I give it. I know I can look at it and see, let's say a $1 bill, this is worth $1. But that has the same value as a $500 bill of Monopoly money if I'm really into the Monopoly game that I'm playing and I need that to win, and that makes me feel happy. So there are different ways to value the things that you value. So you can value this as a thing, and that means everything's valid then that we're fighting against and complaining against, to be passionate about stuff. But to me, it's just weird to like value a thing that is decided on by just an old fucking man who runs a business and says, this is what I want to happen. And so you still value it as though that's not the case. That's what I think bugs me more than anything, is these people, first of all, they act like they know better and they don't. Even if they do, it doesn't fucking matter. And you're valuing it as though it's the same as the Cubs winning the World Series, or it's the same as a legitimate sporting event. It's the same as a combat sport. It's the same as the UFC, right? There's a fight this weekend. Who's fighting? Conor McGregor and Eddie Alvarez. Yep. One of those guys is going to win that fight because he beat the fuck out of the other guy, or he submitted him. He was the better guy.
Or because the judges want Conor to make more money for the company.
If it goes to decision, they're working all day. Yeah. But I'm just saying, right? So it's like, that's a legitimate accomplishment. I feel like if you're going to place a value in that, there's more value to me when I look at it. And he actually exerted himself in such a way that he deserved to win that. And I see that because it's the ultimate outcome that he actually worked hard for. That's not the same thing here. I can watch a guy work really hard and do everything he thinks he needs to do to get to the place that he thinks he needs to get to and go, such as Curtis Axel. I don't care about Curtis. I think he's annoying as a motherfucker, but he's doing everything he thinks he needs to do to get where he needs to go, and he's never going to get there. Why? Vince doesn't see it in him. That's the only reason. That is literally the only reason. How is that valuable to anybody? How can that be the thing you value most if the reason people's careers live and die is because one old man says so? How? Or a promoter can or cannot afford to pay their fee to show up at their independent event and entertain 30 people in a bingo hall. All 30 on wrestling Twitter circle jerking each other. You know what I mean? Like, and are those opinions the ones that matter? Why the fuck do those opinions matter? That's the other thing about wrestling that bugs me. Anybody can get in and have their opinion mean something.
No,
or stupid fucking awards. Take Cageside out of the running for any of your dumbass wrestling Twitter awards. No one gives a shit. You don't get any. You don't matter. That's the other thing all these fucking people don't get. You don't matter. Your opinion doesn't fucking matter because you're still getting worked. The guy who makes the decisions has figured out a way to make you value his decisions while claiming you hate his decisions and still giving him money. You're a fucking idiot. Is what you are, and you come on here and try to say you're a smart mark. No, you're not. You can. Anyone who tells you they're a smart mark, you can just look at them and go, you can drop the smart part, bud, because you're not. You are not in on the con because you're still giving them your money, and that's okay. But just don't act like you're fucking. You know more. You're better. You're not. you're an even bigger dummy because you know you're being conned and you're still giving your money away. They love you. Trust that. What else?
I was just going to say there's Reverend Kane, who is probably, he's probably the smartest guy in the Cageside orifices, but he usually says stuff that's so smart we don't even understand what he's talking about. But he makes a good point, which is that a lot of it is because Raw has not been an entertaining program lately, that's why there's so much hand-wringing. And that's where you see, like SmackDown, it's not a perfect show, as we discussed at the Open, but it's over on the aggregate, it is a more entertaining show. So there was like a little flare-up where people were like, I don't know if I like the way James Ellsworth is being used. AJ Styles doesn't look great. But it didn't pick up steam the way anything on Raw does, because in the end, people get back to just saying, whoa, that was kind of an entertaining story. I like that. Whereas on Raw, we're not entertained, so we got a lot more time to pick this shit to threads and argue over it. So,
and the other thing is, not enough people care.
I mean, that's and the bottom line is, the thing is that, to get to your point, to tie it back into your point too, about people who get a Twitter account and then all of a sudden their opinion matters. Their opinion, it does matter in this little tiny bubble that we have, and I include myself as part of that bubble. But the internet wrestling fan, the person who cares enough to come to Cageside, get an Observer subscription, all of these things, is a very small part of the pie. Look at those like Twitter polls that they do, that WWE does, which I know they're not scientific, but more people than not keep watching Raw because they enjoy it. And, the fact that you, as a smart mark, doesn't enjoy it, you're still probably in the minority. If it was really horrible and nobody was liking it, it would go away. Yeah. Eventually. Yeah. I mean, it's a free market. It's a capitalist economy. I mean, if nobody liked it, people would stop watching it and it would go away. But a couple million people, there's maybe there's 500,000 of us that hate watch it every week because we're smart marks. But the other 2 million actually like it.
That's a form of liking it. Another thing that bugs me.
True, yeah.
You complain too much. Why is it a bad thing to complain? Complaining relieves.
That's how I watch
Complaining relieves stress. Fuck boy. That relieves stress as well, to call you names. Well, you're being abusive. Eat a dick. Don't come at me. You follow me, dude. Like, you know what I mean? It's just such a weird thing to me. Like, all the complaints and the negativity. Some people like that. Mm-hmm. What's wrong with that? If you don't, like you said, leave. You don't have to be here. So, that's just whatever. Which contradicts every other thing we've ever said. It was like, if you don't watch like this, that's a stupid thing. We're like, well, yeah, but if you watch like this, it means that. And everyone's valid. But also, I don't think we've ever pretended like our opinion mattered more than anyone else's.
Again, that's it. That's like probably the two biggest little gotchas are, one, thinking you know when you don't. Yep. Or B, thinking that you are somehow the right, you have the right answer and your voice should be heard more than others. And
you're the moral authority here.
Right. Yeah. It's a problem when others don't see it the way you do. It's not. It's just, that's the way you're watching it. That's the way you're consuming it right now. You can decide to walk away or not. That's it. It's not that big a fucking deal.
Yes, self-appointed critics of all this shit. And it's like, well, that's what you do. No, we run a website where we talk about the shit. I do it to make money. That's why I'm here. And I do that, and we're really good at it. And business is booming, people. Broke our record already for hits in a year. We got 2 months left. You know what I mean? Which is why it's always so funny to me that all these people who claim to have all these answers, they don't do that. They ain't doing it. And they always have an excuse for why not,
And there are a lot of people who have sort of left Cageside or used to hang out in the community who decided, I'm going to go do this on our own. And very few of them now run successful websites. Heel Doors is somebody who did, we couldn't pay him. He went out there, Big Pale's another, and got a job doing it. So you can do that.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like, you guys are doing it wrong. You guys complain too much. I don't agree with what you're saying. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to go show you different. Most of those people don't, because it's a lot. Because we might make it look easy, but it's also hard fucking work.
Yeah, it's funny. You're doing it wrong. Okay, so let me go outside, take a picture of the house I pay for with how I do this. I think I won. Fuck you. Guy emailing my bosses to be like, the guy, that's a bad brand. It's so bad that it pays for everything I own. Oh, what a horrible brand. What a horrible fucking brand. And yes, that means I am more successful than the idiot with 1,000 followers on Twitter who wants to criticize me. who is not successful, by the way, with his own fucking site. You know what I mean? That's what kills me, dude. It just kills me. That's all. I'm done with these fucking. We're not gonna delete this. Leave it in. I hope all of you are listening. And if you think I'm talking about you, I'm absolutely talking about you. That's what I'll say about that. The rest of Raw was very boring. That's why we haven't gotten to it. I don't know about boring. It was actually a decent show.
I liked the last match. I mean, I'm surprised you haven't. I mean, one thing that I think this show did really well was it made Braun Strowman look like a fucking bad.
I don't know if he's saying Roar or Braun. I don't care. Quit fucking asking me.
He's on Team Braun. I know that.
I'm Team Braun all the way. If there's a shirt, I'm buying it. It will be the first wrestling shirt I buy since. By the way, we got a commission approved payout for our shirts. Someone bought $70 worth of shirts the other day.
Really?
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, who the fuck did this?
I still have not bought a shirt. So.
Oh my God, Sean. That's what? That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I just have people in my world who just don't support what we do here. That's fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. This is fine.
The main reason I haven't bought a shirt is because I have been told by my significant other that if I buy, I think the direct quote was, if you buy any more fucking wrestling shirts, and then there was some expletives. I don't know. But
how is Julie?
She's good. 90% of my T-shirts at this point in my life are wrestling shirts, and that's a little weird even for me. So
yeah, because
I'm trying to get some just like basic blacks, maybe.
You're in your 40s now, and that's a little alarming that you're wearing so many shirts. You're a mark.
Mm-hmm. I am.
I'm better than you.
Yeah,
that's
most of the time.
No, yeah. I'm glad to hear things are good with Julie, though. Even though you're such a big wrestling mark and buying wrestling shirts, it's good that she puts up with that.
I am. So Braun was good. What else? I like the New Day segment. I don't know. That probably means there's something wrong with me, but
no, it was.
I still find them. I see a lot of people are like fed up with them, but I still find them the same as I've ever found them, which is they're kind of hit and miss. Sometimes they're funny and charming. Sometimes they're annoying. But
the funny thing about wrestling, I think wrestling fans at least the ones that I see, and that's why I always bring up wrestling Twitter, is because we work online, so that's what we're exposed to the most. Mm-hmm. Is there's no middle ground, and I'm typically the same way. There's no like either. This is the greatest.
And that's not wrestling specific anymore either. That's everything is either the best in the world or the worst in the world. There's nothing else.
There's no time where it's like this New Day shit was dumb and I didn't like it, but it's fine. Whatever, they'll come back. Hopefully, it's good next week. There's been plenty of times that New Day's been that way. For me, this was a little bit of that. I mean, it was entertaining. It was fine. The crowd thought it was cool. I think I caught in the recap. It was like dumb fun. Cesaro, I thought was like super comfortable on the mic. He looked better than he has in a long time. Charismatic.
He likes being in Europe.
Yeah. Like he didn't care as much, and he was entertaining, and I enjoyed that. It was fine. I don't like the bickering stuff. I think it's lame and stupid and dumb and a waste of time. But it was fine. And then I don't think there was really anything else on the show. Good. Stephanie,'s wonderful.
You didn't like the shit. You like the Shield teases. You don't like that.
No. I just stay away from that until you're until it's time to really go back.
Well, they're going to have to do it at Survivor Series. I was going to say
they're going to be in the match. Team up together, and it's going to be dumb. And then Dean's going to come out on. I don't know what they're going to do, but
I will say in terms of like in honor of Sammy and Big E's Day of Positivity, I will say I'm pretty much looking forward to Survivor Series. The only match on the card that I'm not intrigued by is the fucking main event. But I'm not mad about it. I
love elimination matches like that. I love those Survivor Series.
I mean, and I think they've done a good job of weaving a bunch of storylines together where I'm going to be excited to watch each of those matches and see like who teams up.
I hope they do a grand finale.
Yeah.
Like that would be back cool. In the old days.
Oh man, that's what I miss about Survivor Series. That was the shit with all the survivors.
Survive, baby, to the grand finale.
Yeah.
I got into wrestling in 1990 Survivor Series. And they got out the big man, Taker, by just having him leave.
Yep.
So Strowman, they better get him out by just having him be like, this isn't enough competition. I'm going to go kill Foley.
I think I might jump off my couch and scream when we get the Strowman Corbin stare down. I think that. No.
You think that me. What? I think that.
Well, I thought other people would be more excited. I didn't.
Has Corbin even been on TV for a few weeks?
He's been getting like vignette. He got a little hype piece last week where he talked about how he doesn't like having friends and family because they slow him down and shit. So he's gonna be a bad teammate.
Okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know. That's the funny thing too. It's like Raw's poorly run because they're like, okay, you're all on the same team.
Yeah, they need to come out and explain why they're making their teammates fight each other all the time.
Actually, I thought it was a good explanation that Stephanie gave, where she was like, you get your aggression out now, beat the fuck out of each other, but we got to work together come Survivor Series. And then they announced a debate or some shit for next week.
That. And that's after. I thought that was going to be during Raw. That's a whole fucking. Who the fuck is going to watch that?
It's post Raw talk. The election's over, fuck boys.
I know.
Why are you doing this?
First of all, you're too late to capitalize on the tie-in, and second of all, nobody wants to watch. Nobody wants to watch that.
I do not want to do your debate. What are you going to debate? The merits of?
It's the State of the Union. They're each going to talk. I don't know. It's stupid.
It's the State of the Union address for each show. One of them's bad. The other one's good. Good talk. Like, I don't.
Daniel Bryan's going to say some shitty things that everybody's going to get all worked up and think he's shooting to get fired or whatever, and whatever.
He is. Everything's a shoot in wrestling.
That's the thing.
That's you guys are going to shit your pants when Cageside goes full kayfabe, and then you never hear the word kayfabe because that doesn't exist in this world. Or babyface or heel.
That's another one of my favorite like Geno contradictions. Is he's like, I don't want fucking gimmicks in the threads. I don't want any of this. But then his big white whale is he wants to do this kayfabe day on Cageside where we do every story in kayfabe.
No, it's funny because there were people who were like leaving the site writing these big long notes about how it's all my fault and how I'm such a piece of shit. And that was wonderful because they're right about some things. Like I am a walking contradiction. I really am. Like there are no gimmicks in the thread. I do gimmicks all the fucking time. Like I'm always doing some shit. I don't believe most of the things that I say, or write or whatever. I don't really care. So it's whatever entertains me, and if it's good to make money, that's what I do. I make money. That's the point of all of this.
I thought it was to be happy.
God, I hate you.
I would have taken us out on that, but I suck at. I still suck at. I took 6 weeks off. I've been practicing how to click the stop broadcast button.
I thought it was to be happy and then take us off before I can respond with vitriol. That would have been a really good close.
I know, and I still suck.
You fucking blew it. All right, we'll do the regular one. Sean's on Twitter at S1Rude. Go follow him or don't because he's just annoyed.
I haven't been on there much lately, so you can.
We're on Twitter at Cageside Seats. That's where I sometimes tweet from. Follow that.
Yeah.
For business purposes. Also, if you're going to complain, quote tweet us so we can get the free promotion. Appreciate that, you fucking marks. And so that was this week.
Follow us on Facebook because that's important to our bosses.
Follow us on Instagram. We're on.
Is it still just one picture of you?
Still just Eva with the old women's title. Follow us on Instagram.
That's a gimmick right there.
Follow us on Snapchat.
Don't even know what that is.
Follow us on Pinterest.
Yeah. Follow us on Vine while you still can.
Follow us on Google Plus.
Send us a tout.
Follow us on YouTube.
Does tout still exist?
Maybe. Follow us on Flow Slam. Follow us on Slack. Take us out while I'm saying this.
I don't know.